Hare Krishna. Om Gyanatimrasya Gyananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave. Hare Krishna. It's a very important article that is being discussed. Very tough also to comprehend some of the things, but very important that we we understand the intricacies and try to uh, see how it is happening. And we don't want to criticize anyone, but we want to protect ourselves. So basically, that should be the mood when we are reading. Like when Krishna is telling the divine and demoniac qualities in the 16th chapter, he is not telling that now we start seeing demons all around. Who are all the demons who are depicting the qualities that are given in this chapter? No, he basically want us to understand what all the weakness we have, no, the demonic mentality we have in our heart. So that is his purpose of telling. So similarly, this article is not to find criticism, but to protect ourselves and whomever we are in touch with, and not to criticize and find fault. So we should be very careful also. We may make, if we are in a leadership position, then it is very good that we can make some changes within ourselves, our community, like that. So the mood should be very clear. And yeah, because what happens is like all these rules and regulations, the prohibitions of scriptures are needed in order to remember Krishna. So this is a very important point. We need to understand that why these things are there. And yeah, Krishna will help. And we will just take few. Actually, some nice things are there here. Uh, the great sage continued, my dear Vidra. So here, when Prithu Maharaj appeared, so all the everybody started giving presents to the Lord. This is also very important formula that we have to always give best, whatever best we have to the Lord. So in that way, we are pleasing the Lord and becoming closer to Him. So the formula is very simple. Whatever is best we have, it should be for the Lord. Then what we will enjoy? Actually, our enjoyment is in giving. So we'll really enjoy like that. So when he appeared, then everybody celebrated. So, my dear Vidra, at the time, all the Brahmanas highly praised the and glorified King Prithu, and best singers of Gandharva Loka chanted his glories. The inhabitants of Siddhaloka showered flowers, and all these things, nice things happened. And the beautiful heavenly women, they danced in ecstasy. So, like if India wins cricket match or some country wins the soccer, then the whole country celebrates. But this is very, but we should celebrate for Lord's festival. So we celebrate for Janmashtami. We should not celebrate for mundane things. It is actually not a very uh, big achievement. It's all Prakriti Kriyamanani Gunai Karmani Sarvasha. Ahankar Vimudhatma Kartahamit Manyate. It's just a increase of false ego only. If that celebrations are not any auspiciousness, it does not create any auspiciousness. We are not against it, but we should know the limitations of that celebrations. Real celebration should be when Lord appears. Janmashtami is real celebrations. And that is the biggest festival for the whole world, it should be. Whole creation only. Why? Because it helps a living entity come out of this material existence. That's why it is celebrated. So these mundane celebrations that happen, it is not very auspicious. And that actually is correct also. And here they are celebrating conch shells, bugles, drums, kettle drums vibrated in outer space, great sages, forefathers, and personalities from the heavenly planets all came to Earth from various planetary systems. See, this is actually, they know that this is such a big event, how important it is. Because material mundane celebrations, they are festival for 1 day, 2 day, 1 week. And after that, and it boils down to Dehatma Buddhi only. And then one people's success is another people's failure in this world. Like if in soccer, say 20, 30, 20 countries are in the finals, and then only one country wins. That means 19 country people will cry. So it's inauspiciousness. That means one person's success is so many people's failure. This is what is material success. And but Lord appears, it is auspicious for everyone. It is success for everyone. So the master of the entire universe arrived there, accompanied with all the demigods and the chiefs, seeing the lines of Lord Vishnu's palms on King Prithu's right hand and impressions of lotus flower in the sole of his feet. Lord Brahma could understand that King Prithu was a partial representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, on whose palm bears the sign of a disc as well as other such lines, should be considered a partial representation or incarnation of Supreme Lord. So that was the proof that even Brahma, he is just does not sentimentally accept all the demigods. They are coming, they are seeing the signs of the Supreme Lord, then only they are accepting it. It is not any blind fault. We cannot mean anyone Lord. The Lord, if so many incarnations are appearing in India, and many people become God. Especially in India, this is there. In West, you don't find many gods because they have only one God, Jesus or Allah. But in India, there is a special advantage. You can become God in India. Why? Because in India, many avatars already came. So they think if Lord can come so frequently, then I can also become Lord, not a problem. But there should be certain signs to accept the Lord. So that is the point. So you cannot blindly accept anybody as Supreme Lord. So we can't anyone as Supreme Lord, right? So then we see further in this section. He says that Lord Brahmanas who are very attached to Vedic ritualistic ceremonies, they arrange for king's coronation. People from all directions collected all different paraphernalia for the ceremony. Thus everything was complete. So Prithu was coronated. As soon as he's born, I think he's born only big. Uh, So then comes, he says that all the rivers, seas, hills, mountains, serpents, cows, birds, animals, heavenly planets, the earthly planets, and all other living entities collected various presentations according to their ability to offer the king. So then they gave this offering to the king. So we should offer best things to king. Why? As a gratitude to the king and the Lord also. Why we should offer best things to the king and Lord? Basically, it's a expression of our gratitude that whatever they are doing, like he's taking the whole responsibility of protecting the citizens. So we should express gratitude. Thus, the great King Prithu uh, exquisitely dressed and garments and ornaments was coronated and placed on the throne. The king and his wife Archie, who were also exquisitely ornamented, appeared exactly like fire. So both Prithu and Archie sat on the throne. So now then the great sage continued, my dear Vidra, Kuvera presented King Prithu with golden throne. So Kuvera gave best one, gave a golden throne. He has so much money. The demigod presented with umbrella that constantly sprayed fine particles of water and was brilliant. The air god Vayu presented with two whisks chamaras of hair. This is actiles. Dharma presented with a flower garland which would expand his fame. King of Heaven, Indra presented with a valuable helmet, and the superintendent of that presented him as scepter, which would rule the world. So they are giving the best thing. They felt it is relevant for him, so they started. Lord Brahma presented Prithu with a protective garment made of spiritual knowledge. And Saraswati, Bharati, the wife of Brahma, gave him a transcendental necklace. Lord Vishnu presented him with Sudarshan Chakra. Lord Vishnu's wife, goddesses of fortune, gave him imperishable opulence. Prabhupada writing, all the demigods presented various gifts to King Prithu, Hari, an incarnation of Supreme Lord, known as Upendra and heavenly planet, presented King with Sudarshan disc. Okay, Vaman they presented Upendra. It should be understood that this Sudarshan Chakra is not exactly same type of Sudarshan disc used by personality award Krishna or Vishnu. Since Prithu was a partial representative of Supreme Lord's power, so Sudarshan disc gave to him represent the partial power of the original Sudarshan disc. It is also a partial representation, original Sudarshan disc. दशचन्द्रम् अस्मि रुद्रः शतचन्द्रं तथाम्बिका सोमो अमृतमाया अश्वांस्तष्टारूपाशयं Lord Shiva presented him with a sword within a shat mark of 10 moons, and his wife, the goddesses Durga, presented him with a shield marked with 100 moons. The moon demigod presented him with horses made of nectar, and the demigod Vishwakarma presented him with a very beautiful chariot. So this is the Durga cave. And then the demigod fire Agni presented him with a bow made of horns of goats and cows. The sun god presented him with arrows of as brilliant as sunshine. The predominating deity of Loka presented him with slippers full of mystic powers. The demigods from outer space brought him presentations of flowers again and again. This was described that the king's slippers were invested with mystic powers. Paduka Yoga Maikyo. As soon as the king placed his feet on the slippers, they would immediately carry him wherever he desired. Mystic yogis can transfer themselves from one place to another whenever they desire. A similar power was invested in the slippers of King Prithu. That's the reason he could chase Mother Earth wherever she went. The demigods who always traveled in outer space gave Prithu the art to perform dramas, sing songs, play music, instruments, and disappear at his will. The great sage also offered him infallible blessings. The ocean offered him conch shell produced from the ocean. So we should not be mesmerized with whatever opulence and powers the people of this world has. We can see so much variety is there in the higher planetary systems, and what all opulence is there. We cannot even imagine also. The sea, mountains, rivers gave him room to drive his chariot without impediment. And Suta, a Magadha, and a Bandis offered prayers and praises. They all presented before him to perform their respective duties. So till now the presentations are over. Now the glorification starts. This is thus when the greatly powerful king, the son of Vena, saw the professionals before him, he congratulated them, he smiled, and with gravity of vibrating sounds as cloud, he spoke as follows. So when they started glorifying, then Prithvi Maharaj says, Prithus, King Prithus said, O gentle Sutta Magada and devotees offering prayers, the qualities of which you have spoken were not distinct in me. Why then should you praise me for all the qualities when I do not shelter this their future? I do not wish these words meant for me go in vain, but it is better that they be offered to someone else. Because the prayers and praises by the Sutas, Magadas, and Mandis all explained the godly qualities of Maharaj Prithu, for he was a Shaktavesh incarnation of Lord. Because the qualities were not yet manifest, King Prithu very humbly asked why the devotee should praise him with such exalted words. He did not want anyone to offer him prayers or glorify unless he possesses the real qualities of which they spoke. So I just appeared. So let me do something and then you glorify. So that was his point. The offering of prayers was certainly appropriate, for he was an incarnation of Lord. But he wanted that one should not be accepted as an incarnation of Lord without having the godly qualities. And this is what Prabhupada again practically tells that at present moment, there are many so-called incarnation of Supreme Lord, but these are merely fools and rascals whom people accept as incarnation of God, although they have no godly qualities. King Prithu described this real characteristics in future may justify such words of praise, although they are not fault in the prayers offered. Prithu Maharaj indicated that such prayer should not be offered to an unfit person who pretend to be an incarnation of Supreme Lord. Tasmat prokteshu asmad upasrushtyanyalam karisyanto stotramapi cha vacha satyuttama gunanuvada jugupsitam satvayanti sabdhaya. He says, O gentle reciters, offer such prayers in due course of time. Not now. In future I will do, then you offer. Then the qualities of which you have spoken actually manifest themselves in me. The gentle who offer prayers to the Supreme Lord do not attribute such qualities to human beings who does not actually have them. So, Prabhupada writing, gentle devotees of the Supreme Lord know perfectly well who is God and who is not. Non-devotees, impersonalists, however, who have no idea what God is and who never offers praise to Supreme Lord are always interested in accepting human being as God and offer such praise. This is the difference between a devotee and a demon. Demons manufacture their own gods or a demon himself claims to be God, following in the footsteps of Ravana and Hiranyakashipu. Although Prithu Maharaj was actually an incarnation of Supreme Lord, he rejects those praises because the qualities of Supreme Person were not manifested in him. He wanted to stress that one who does not actually possess this quality should not try to engage his followers and devotees in offering him glory for him. So, if a man who does not actually possess the attributes of a great personality engage in offering and praising him with an exceptions that such attributes will develop in future, that is a sort of phrase actually an insult. Is very important. In future, you will be very great devotee or a pure devotee. All these things is actually insult. How could an intelligent man, competent enough to possess such exalted qualities, allow his followers to praise him if he did not actually have them? Praising a man by saying that if he were educated, he might become a great scholar or great personality is nothing but a process of cheating. A foolish person who agrees to accept such praise does not know that such words simply insult him. They said, oh, if you have studied nicely, you would have become the Prime Minister of India. That means now you didn't study only. If you have studied, you have become a great scientist. If you have studied such like things. So Maharaj Prithu was incarnation of Supreme Lord, as Brahma and other demigods have already testified. When they were presented, that has presented the king with many heavenly gifts. Because he was just being coordinated, he could not manifest his godly actions. Therefore, he was not willing to accept the praise of the devotees. So-called incarnation of God should therefore take lessons from the behavior of King Prithu. Demons without godly quality should not accept false praises from their followers. So, पराभवो हि आत्मनः स्तोत्रं जुगुप्सितम् अपि वस्तुता हरिमन्तं परमोधार पुरुषं वा विगर्हितम्. As a person with a sense of honor and magnanimity does not like to hear about his abominable actions, a person who is very famous and powerful does not like to hear him praised. So this is the truth. So they don't like to be praised even if they are doing something good. We vayam tva avidhita loke sutadaya madhivi कर्मभिः कथम् आत्मानं गाप्यैष्याम balavat. King Prithu continued, my dear devotees, headed by Suta, just as I am not very famous for my personal activities because I have not done anything praiseworthy to you could glorify. Therefore, how could I engage you in praising my activities exactly like children? Thus, in the Bhaktivedanta purport of 4th canto, 15th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled King Prithu's appearance and coronation. So, the 16th one, where it is glorified. King Praise of King Prithu's by professional reciters. The great sage Maitreya continued, while King Prithu thus spoke, the humility of his nectarian speech pleased the reciters very much. Then again they continued to praise the king highly with exalted praise, as they had been instructed by the sages. So the sages told them to continue. So they are following the King Prithu said no, but the sages said no, you continue. So here is the word Muni Chodita indicates instructions received from great sages and saintly persons. Although Maharaj Prithu was simply enthroned on the royal seat and was not at that time exhibiting his godly powers, the reciters like uh, Suta and Magadha and Vandi understood that King Prithu was incarnation of Lord. They could understand this by the instruction given by the sages and land brahmanas. We have to understand the incarnations of God by the instructions of authorized persons. We cannot manufacture a God by our own concoction. As stated by Narottam Das Thakur, Sadhu Shastra Guru, one has to test all the spiritual matters according to the instructions of saintly persons, scriptures, and spiritual master. The spiritual master is one who follows the instructions of his predecessors, namely the sadhus or saintly person. So we have to follow somebody above. We cannot just decide on our own. So this is very important. So Prabhupada tells this again and again. Ordinary people have to follow the instructions of Sadhu, Shastra, Guru, those statements made in the Shastras. And but these people, they followed the Sadhus. They said, no, you glorify, and then they start glorifying here. नालम्बयं ते महिमानुवर्णने यो देववर्यो अवतात रामायया वेनाङ्गजातस्य च पौरुषाणि ते वाचस्पतीनां सपिबद्रुमूर्ध्या. The reciter continued, Dear King, you are the direct incarnation of Supreme Lord. and by his causeless mercy you are descended to this. Therefore, it is not possible for you to actually glorify your exalted activities. Although you have appeared through body of King Vena, even great orators and speakers like Brahma and other demigods cannot exactly describe the glorious activity of your lordship. So when Brahma is considered Prithu Maharaj superior to him because he is a incarnation of Lord. So that is also a point. So he is not just glorified. But even Brahma is considered him superior. Brahma is not able to glorify him. So in this verse, the word Maya means by your causeless mercy. The Mayavadi philosophers explain the word Maya as meaning illusory or falseness. However, there is another meaning of Maya. That is causeless mercy. By your Maya you came means by your causeless mercy. So there are two kinds of Maya, Yoga Maya and Mahamaya. Mahamaya is an expansion of Yoga Maya, and both these Mayas are different expansion of Lord's internal potency. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, the Lord appeared through his internal potencies, Atma Maya. He therefore should reject the Mayavadi explanation that Lord appears in a body given by the external potency. So even though the Lord appeared, although born out of the so-called dead body of King Vena, King Prithu was still an incarnation. So this is an important point. So he can appear any form and he can be transcendental. So even though he appeared from a dead body, it's not very great thing to appear from a dead body. But because he appeared from the internal potency, Lord can appear in any family. Sometimes he appears as fixed incarnation, boar incarnation, like that. Thus, the Lord is completely free and independent to appear anywhere and everywhere by his internal potency. So we should not think what is this type of birth. So people have problem why Lord is appearing like this. But it is stated that the incarnation of Lord who has unlimited mouth cannot reach the end of glorification of the Lord. So what to speak of demigods like Brahma and Shiva? Shiva Virinchi Nunam. So this is 11th canto. Prabhupada is remembering this is very important verse of Bhagavatam, which glorifies Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, 11.533. So if the demigods cannot find adequate language to express the glories of Lord, then what to speak of others? Consequently, reciters like Sudha and Magadha felt inadequate. So we cannot glorify the Lord. Lord Brahma, Shiva, nobody can glorify the Lord completely. This is unlimited glories. Because his glories always increase only. अताप्य उदार सर्वस्य पोत्र हरे कलावतारस्य कथामृतादृथा यतोपदेशं मुनिभिः प्रचोदिता श्लाघ्यानि कर्माणि वयं वितन्महि. Although we are unable to glorify adequately, we nonetheless have a transcendental taste for glorifying your activities. We shall try to glorify you according to the instructions given by the authorities, sages, and scholars. Whatever we speak, however, is always inadequate and very insignificant. Dear King, because you are a direct incarnation of Lord, all your activities are liberal and very are ever laudable. So here they are telling we are glorified because we are feeling taste. So we are getting taste. So this is the reason for glorification. So we want to glorify. So they are following the instructions, but personally also they are experiencing the taste in glorifying the Lord. This is very important. So we have to ultimately come to this point where we develop taste in glorifying the Lord. That is a perfection of life. Nothing else is needed. When we are happy glorifying the Lord, so even when we are in the last moment of our life, we will do the same thing because we like it. So we will not get affected by what is the circumstances in which I am leaving my body and all. You are just interested in glorifying the Lord. That's all. However, expert one may be, he can never describe the glories of Lord adequately. Nevertheless, those engaged in glorifying the activities of Lord will try to do so as far as possible. Such an attempt will please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Chaitanya has advised all his followers to go everywhere and preach the message of Lord. Since this message is essentially Bhagavad Gita, the preacher's duty is to study Bhagavad Gita as it is understood by disciplic section and explained by great sages and learned devotees. One should speak to the general populace in accordance with one's predecessor, Sadhu, Guru, and Shastra. The simple process is the easiest method by which one can glorify the Lord. Devotional service, however, is the real method, for by devotional service one can satisfy the Supreme Lord with just few words. Without devotional service, volumes of books cannot satisfy the Lord, even though preachers of Krishna conscious movement may be unable to describe the glories of Lord, they cannot nonetheless go everywhere and request people to chant. So we should do this service of glorification, which is what is the perfection of life. एष धर्मभृतां श्रेष्ठो लोकधर्मेऽनुवर्तयन् गोप्ता च धर्मसेतूनां शाश्का तत्परिपन्थिनाम्. This king, now they started reciting the glory. So they told the reason why the sages told them to do, and then they said, we are feeling the pleasure in glorifying, that's why we'll do it. King Prithvi is best among those who follow the religious principles. As such, he will engage everyone in the pursuit of religious principles and give those principles all protections. He will also be greatest chastiser of irreligious and atheistic. Here, interesting thing, you see, they are not glorifying the result, they are glorifying the action only. So, this is very important. Glorifying the action, not result. Because this is very important. Vedic culture always focus on our action, our intentions and actions, not on the result. Why? Because result is not in our hand. So, what is the point in glorifying? So, people in Kali Yuga, they glorify the result. They don't see how much a person worked hard. So they only focus on result, and that's why it causes so much distress for people. They enjoy the result. It is actually very tragedy. It's dangerous. To enjoy the result is danger. Danger in the sense it will be help. It will make us more and more entangled in this material creation. That's why it is dangerous. We should not be attached to the result. We should be attached to the action only. And here we see they are glorifying the actions of Prithvi Maharaj. They say, oh, it's not that how many kingdoms you made, how many followers you made, how much you acquired wealth. They're not talking only. He said, is the following religious, is best among the person who follows the religious principle. That means, okay, you made one king, maybe a kingdom of this much size. But there can be people who are bigger than Prutu Maharaj, but that is not important. You are important because you're following the religious principle. As such, he will engage everyone. So he's saying you are engaging everyone in the pursuit of religious principles and give those principles all protections. You will also be a great chastiser of irreligions and atheistics. So it is not the quantity, it is the quality that is seen. The duty of a king or head of government is described very nicely in this verse. It is the duty of a government head to see the people strictly follow religious life. A king should also be strict in chastising the atheist. In other words, an atheistic or godless government should never be supported by a king or governmental chief. That is a test of good government. See, so the king should be very strict in chastising atheists. An atheistic or godless government should never be supported. That is a test of good governance. So, in the name of secular movement, the king or the government head remains neutral and allows people to engage in all sorts of irreligious activities. So, this is the problem. If the king will say, oh, I am secular, and no, let them do whatever they want. No, they will go to hell only. In such a state, people cannot be happy despite all economic development. You see, this is actually what is happening in the Western countries. They are economically very, very prosperous, but they remain unhappy. In the age of Kali, there is no pious king. Instead, rogues and thieves are elected to the head and at the government. But how can the people be happy without religion and God consciousness? The rogues exact taxes from the citizens for their own sense enjoyment, and the future the people will be so much harassed that according to Srimad Bhagavatam, they will flee from their homes and country and take shelter in the forest. However, Kali Yuga democratic government can be captured by Krishna conscious people. If this can be done, the general population. So Prabhupada is giving some political advice for some people who are interested. He says, Esha vai lokapalana bibhratyekastanu tanu tanoha kale kale yata bhagam lokayor ubhayor hitam. This king alone in his own body will be able in due course of time maintain all living entities and keep them in present condition by manifesting himself as different demigods to perform various departmental activities. Thus, he will maintain the upper planetary systems by inducting the populace to perform Vedic sacrifice in due course of time. He will also maintain this earthly planet by discharging proper rainfall. So he's supplying people to the heavenly planets and maintaining. He's doing two things. Uh, he'll maintain the upper planetary systems by inducting the populace. So he's sending the people to the higher planetary system because they also need some people there, and he's maintaining the higher planet system in that way by supplying people, and he's maintaining the earthly planet by giving rains. So, President, the demigods in charge of different department activities that maintain this world are. So, sorry, two ways he's giving. He's sending people also. He's actually performing yajna to maintain the higher planetary system. Because in higher planetary system, sorry, they need to maintain themselves, they need yajna. And Pruthimara is saying, okay, I'll get yajna done for you so that he can maintain the higher planet systems, and he's maintained the the earthly planet by supplying rain. So both the things he's doing. He's helping heavenly planets because they need yajna to be performed and proper ratings. That the demigods uh, in charge of various department activities that maintain this world are but assistant to the Supreme Lord. When an incarnation of Lord appears, demigods like sun, god, moon, all join. Consequently, the incarnation is able to act for all the departmental demigods to keep the planetary systems in order. The protection of earthly planets is with rain, and then Annat Bhavanti Bhutani Parjannadanam Sambhava Parjannat Yajnat Bhavati Parjanno Yajna Karma Samudbhava. Now, the proper execution of sacrifice is required, as indicated herein. King Prutu, along with uh, alone, would induce all the citizens to engage in sacrifice so that there would be no scarcity or distress. Kali Yuga, however, in the so-called secular state, the executive branch of government is in charge of so-called kings and presidents who are all fools and rascals, ignorant of the intricacies of nature's causes and ignorance of the principles of sacrifice. Such rascals simply make various plans which always fail, and the people subsequently suffer disturbance. To counteract the situation, Shastra advice Hare Ramaiva Kevalam. That's all. So, thank you all very much. Any questions, comments? Okay, William, thank you all very much. Mantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada.